Give me a break.
Okay, all right. Josh Allen ran for 15 touchdowns last year, 525 yards. But he sat down with Kay Adams and hinted at changing his playing style.
All right, we're playing a little fast and loose with these quotes. All right? He's not saying I don't like running. He's saying I don't literally like running, jogging 5 miles a day.
No, but he also
said I like running. Only time I like running is when somebody's chasing me. So that's on the football field. All right, so to answer, I just don't think he's saying, I hate to run. I don't care whether he hates to run or not. I don't think he does. He's got to run. So he does need to change his style in that he needs to be less reckless. That's when he's running. Of course, he needs to learn how to slide more. He needs to run out of bounds more and all of that. All right, and stop running guys over because Cam Newton.
What about hurdling?
Be less reckless. Yeah. Even when he's throwing the football, be less reckless. He needs to make better decisions. There's no question about that. But he has to run. Yeah. Like, I do think he's a very good passer. Look, last 4 years, he's over 4,000 yards each year. 3 of the last 4 years, over 35 or more touchdowns. I mean, that's not anything to sneeze at. So he's a good passer. I believe he's a very good passer. But he's not a top 5 quarterback without the running.
Correct.
Without the threat of the run.
Wrong.
And I'm not even saying that to disparage him, but that's one of his
It's the part
strengths.
of his game that scares me the most. In that AFC divisional round game that you guys are, still try to convince me he played great, and I think he played okay. He averaged 6 yards per run and 4.5 yards per pass. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 throwing touchdown. Last year,
in that game, Patrick Mahomes only had to throw the ball 23 times, while Josh Allen had to throw the ball like 39 times. Okay? That's not on Josh Allen. That's on the Bills' offense. Okay? And again, if you say that Josh Allen didn't play that good, well then Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs just beat a mediocre team, an injured defense, and a mediocre playing quarterback. So, like, which is it? I have to always repeat that because it's just so absurd to me to keep kind of emphasizing that. He also, his average yards per pass would have been significantly higher if his wide receivers actually caught the ball when he threw like not 1, not 2, but 3 perfect passes that were like 40, 50, 60 plus yards that would have been absolute game-changing and stat-changing for that matter, but they just hit him dead in the hands. Perfect throws. I like how we always just want to forget about that. When we want to talk about Patrick Mahomes' numbers being down, we always emphasize, oh, well, his offensive line was bad, or, oh, well, he had so many drop passes. But for Josh Allen, we don't want to offer that. That's weird. Doesn't make sense to me.
once Joe Brady took over, we can show it to you. What Joe Brady started doing was design Josh Allen runs.
Yep.
And it was effective. It is also why because without the running, if it's just the passing, and this is where I bring up, the data that folks get mad at, but from a passing efficiency standpoint, aside from year 3, he's been, an average NFL quarterback. And if we do overall, not just passer rating, if we just do overall passing numbers over the last 3 years, that's just passing. He's well below average in completion percentage, well above average in yards per game, exactly average in touchdown, interception, and passer rating.
This is just so insane because people act like you can rely on your quarterback to have a new offensive coordinator a minute, to have no consistent run game, ask the quarterback to be the consistent run game, and you're supposed to magically be able to put up top 5 numbers in passing. It's just absurd to me. It really, really is. That you're just expecting him to be able to literally do everything. For him to rip off a 25-yard run, barreling through defense, and then call hike, and then throw another 30-yard perfect pinpoint bomb. Consistently. With a bootleg coordinator who's about to get fired. Or they got fired and now it's a new coordinator, and now you got to figure out what's going on with this new coordinator. I mean, it's just bonkers to me. It really, really is. And I don't know why we have to just keep emphasizing these same, because I feel like I make so many of these same videos because we just try to keep emphasizing who Josh Allen is. He's an average quarterback, I guess, apparently, right? He's an average pocket passing quarterback. And anyone who's actually watched those games and see what he can do with his arm, to reach that conclusion is just kind of insane. It just really is. If he actually had a complete offense with a complete run game and with consistent weapons, with a legitimate offensive coordinator to tie it all together, he would not be throwing the ball 40 times a game. So his completion percentage would be significantly higher, okay? He would have a better touchdown to interception ratio because he wouldn't be forced to have to try to go out and win like Brett Favre style and just throw, okay? So that would improve. His passer rating would improve for all those reasons as well, okay? It's very simple. It's very, very, very simple. Again, look no further than what is asked of Patrick Mahomes or some of these other quarterbacks. They're not asked to do as much as Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the leading rusher, okay, especially in that last playoff game, the leading rusher for the Bills and almost the leading rusher for the entire game for both teams. And he's throwing 5 passes less than double whatever the heck Mahomes is doing. I mean, do you understand how bonkers that is? For him to be the leading rusher and throw, I think, 16 more times than Patrick Mahomes. That's insanity. Insanity. And he doesn't have the Andy Reid or the Travis Kelce to rely on. So it just makes no sense to me. It really is, quite frankly, absurd. And to reach the conclusion that Josh Allen is an average passer, and then we're going to use some of these cooked, stats to kind of show that, misleading stats to show that, I think is just kind of absurd. Because, you want to know how I know I'm right? And we're about to prove this in 1 second. I love when I catch this. See those stats. See the completion percentage, passing yards per game, touchdown, passing rate, all of those things. Nick Wright is specifically using this chart to say, see, he's really just an average passer. I'm going to use you the numbers. These are the numbers. And he even said the numbers that people don't like to hear because they don't want to agree with it, but it is true. Okay. We know for a fact, he's very firm on this. Nick Wright does not think that Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. We know for a fact that Tua Tagovailoa, that he believes that Tua is not a good quarterback. He thinks that Tua should have not even gotten signed for the deal that he got. And yet, look at their completion percentage, passing yards per game, touchdown interception ratio, and passing rating. Through the roof. The top of the league. Top 5 in all those metrics. Top 2, top 3 on some of them. But yet he then says, well, no, that's misleading. Those numbers don't actually matter. That's misleading. But when it's used to bring down Josh Allen, apparently the numbers are gospel. Apparently it's coming from the heavens themselves. So again, we can't pick and choose when we want to use these numbers. That's why I kind of throw them out on both sides and use it. It's just like we got to just figure out what this is. It's always context. That's why when I say, hey, I think Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, I don't say, look at his numbers. I say, hey, he's a good quarterback. Those numbers are great, but we do have to acknowledge X, Y, and Z. We do have to acknowledge that he has a great team, this, that, and the third. So we can do both. But it is always funny that when you just want to toss out those numbers because it's an inconvenient argument against you, but when you want to use it for you, you're like, look at these. People hate to use these numbers. People hate when I bring up these numbers. Well, then, okay, let's bring up the numbers for Tua. Explain to me then why those numbers are inconsistent. Are you going to act like Josh Allen has the same weapons like Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey? Is that what we want to say? Diggs is on the level of a Tyreek Hill or as impactful of a player as Christian McCaffrey or Debo? Because that's nonsense. We know that's just nonsense. I'm not even going to buy into that. Are we going to say that Sean McDermott or insert whoever the offensive coordinator is the same as Shanahan or the Dolphins head coach? I don't think so. So, it's nonsense. You got to handicap these numbers often. You have to put them in context. And it's funny because anytime anyone wants to kind of prove their point, They always want to remove the context. And if you have to remove the context, then your point is just not that strong. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think Josh Allen needs to change his style of play? Do you think he's actually just an average quarterback who's a great runner, which then makes him, I guess, a good to great quarterback? I don't know where they were landing on that. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.